I'm Ivy.
I'm Rachel, and we are Swords and Sapphics, a podcast all about representation, queer media, women with a capital W, and a little bit of nonsense.
So start sharpening your swords, sip your tea, and join us as we obsess over the wonderful beings that are women.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm gonna switch it up a little bit today.
Oh my God.
With who are we talking to today? It wasn't grammatically correct, was it? Who
I
are
don't
we
know.
talking with? I don't know. I don't know. Let's move on. I'm getting into it.
You
Um,
tried, it didn't work. We'll learn, we'll do better next time.
yeah.
Um, well, today we're talking to Wendy Martin, author of Castle Swimmer, which is an amazing graphic novel. um set in the underwater world with fantasy and it's achillean.
Mhm.
um yeah, it's very great, and it has the assassin to lover trope, which is a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And it has shark people. And I love sharks.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, it does
Yeah.
do that. It has cute little fishies.
Yeah. It was very heartwarming thing
It
to read.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was giving me like the heartstopper feel. Like it's just so effortlessly warm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I always find that. I think with comics, like, because there's no need to narrate anything, it
Mm,
just feels a little bit more weightless,
yeah. And
like to read.
I feel like there you can, at least to me, I'm always allowing myself to take more time like looking at the illustrations instead
I
of like just going through it quickly.
I do the thing what I do in a museum. I don't know how much time is socially expected of me to spend looking at one picture. And my eyes are always drawn straight to the dialogue, so I find myself like not appreciating it as much as I should.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It took me a long time because after I've read like a few Marvel and DC comic books, sometimes there are every now and then it's mentioned like some detail that is in the picture. So then I go
Oh.
back and I look at it and and then I found new things that I didn't know there was. And now I love to look for little details. Especially in like the superhero comic books, I like to look into the crowds at the specific people because sometimes there are little Easter eggs that I love.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, I went somewhere else again. Yeah.
Well, before we get into it,
Uh-huh.
shall we talk about what we've been enjoying this week?
No, never.
Oh, fine. That's what you wish.
I don't know what I wished. That wasn't me. I was controlled by a ghost.
Oh my God, she was possessed.
Uh, happens to the best of us. Well, what are you enjoying this weekend? No, week.
I'm enjoying an awful lot of anything right now.
Mm.
What am I enjoying?
Do you want me to answer for you?
Yeah.
The Vampire Diaries,
Yep.
X-Files,
Yep.
The Pumpkin Spice Cafe.
Oh yeah, I started reading The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. Um, just as a little autumn read. I'm listening to it in audiobook while I walk Enzo.
Mm.
Um, and it's good. It's really making me feel warm and fuzzy. It's very Gilmore Girls. It's very Hallmark vibes. It's Grump and Sunshine. I
Mm.
already got a little bit of hurt comfort in there. She has a little bit of angst.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I'm enjoying it very much. It's very cozy.
I every time I see it, I think that it's written by the actress from
Oh
Gilmore
yeah.
Girls. Like my brain is not computing the difference.
Yeah, I
So
get
yeah.
it. I get it. Um, it's very heterosexual. Like, I can see her already trying to set up several people in town, and they're all men and women. And I'm like, there aren't this many straight people in town. but then it feels unfair to say that because the man's grandma was like, "Have you met any women or men recently? I'm not being. Wouldn't mind if you were gay." So it was like
Hmm.
it tried to be a bit queer friendly, but mostly it's very heterosexual, which is it's fine. I went into that knowing it was probably going to be heterosexual, but I always find it severely unrealistic when there is just a town full of straight people or a family full of straight people.
If she did she like came into the town and immediately tried to set up people?
No, somebody, it was actually one of the, I think it was the owner of the bookstore or something who wanted to set up everybody. But I know the second book is the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so she's kind of walked in and people are already trying to set her up with the
mm,
guy.
of course.
Um, yeah, it's just very, very much like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, if someone tried to do that in real life, it would be extremely uncomfortable for me.
I know.
Especially if they're like going around setting up people.
Yeah.
It just feels like you're trying if you want to do that, play Sims.
Yeah.
Don't do the like, boundaries.
You're right, actually. And then there was also another thing. They barely knew each other yet, and the character and one somebody else was like, "Hey, you shouldn't date him. He's been through a lot. Like, don't hurt him." And I'm like, "Girlie just rolled into town. She's trying to f figure out a way to run a cafe. I don't think she's actually thought that far ahead
Yeah.
yet."
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. I'm enjoying it. It's very cozy.
Wonderful.
And before that, I finished the audiobook of In Walked Trouble by Dana Hawkins, which I really, really loved. It was a sapphic romance, and the bartender, they were both bartenders, but really in love with the main character, and it had a great third act conflicts, the kind that I love. Like she
Mhm.
shut herself off because she was in foster care and she didn't feel like family, and it was just I love stuff like that, you know.
I do know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read quite a few other books as well.
Wonderful.
I read Catherine May's memoir, The Electricity of Everything,
Mm.
which is it follows her journey across the Southwest coastal path, which I could never fucking do. But also while she's figuring that out, she's also learning that she is autistic. And I related to a lot of the ways she describes like being autistic, like feel it is like feeling the electricity of everything. Like when somebody's too close to you, you can feel them and it's like go away, even if they're not touching you.
Yeah.
And also how that impacts her being a mother and a wife and things. But then, of course, it's very interesting because she details a lot of ways in which neurodivergence disables her, as it does with most people. Like, for instance, it causes a lot of problems in a marriage, and she can be very like snippety, snappety at her husband, and
Mm.
um, she's had a lot of periods of anxiety and depression, and then she's very quick to say, and at another point, that she doesn't see it as a disability or as a disorder. And I'm like, your entire memoir is about being disordered, my love.
Mhm.
Like, it's very strange how neurodivergent people are like they seem to face a lot of internalized ableism, where they're afraid to say that. And I hate it just because I struggle so much with it. Like when people like it's not a disability, it's a special talent. Like I'm just so different and unique and it makes me very great.
Mm.
Yeah, in an ideal world, but the society doesn't want that for you. Like society's not giving you anything to make you a great person. It's
Mm.
making you the opposite.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars, but it also kind of pissed me off in that regard.
Yeah, I do get it because like it's funny. I can see it with other people. Like I agree when it comes to other people that it's a disability, but I don't admit it for myself. Like I'm still it's fine. It's nothing.
Hmm. But
You know.
then you do struggle and you come to me and say like, oh, I feel like really
Yeah.
Oh, I won't actually. No, I won't tell all your personal secrets. But
No,
you,
it's
but
fine.
I've
But
seen
yeah,
you struggle with it.
yeah. I went through
Um,
something. Yeah.
yeah. So, what is it that holds you back from saying at least that it's a like a disorder, or
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It
I
just
think,
like it didn't click in my brain yet, I guess.
yeah, it
I
took
think
me a while as well
yeah. I think
because I was.
yeah,
Carry
go on.
on. No,
Go
you
on.
carry on. No,
Oh my God.
I talked enough. You carry on.
I think I still feel like I'm making it up partially. And I feel
Uh-huh.
like I'm missing the validation of like someone else who doesn't really know me to
Hmm.
look at it without like knowing my personality and so basically a professional, really, which I'm working on. But I guess I do miss that, especially because of like my parents and stuff. I'm still like it's it's all in my head. I'm just all that they said that I am,
Hmm.
you know.
Well, it is all in your head.
Oh
The
yeah.
neuro spicy little
Um,
head of yours.
that's where it comes from, yeah.
It was the same for me. Like I still hold myself to neurotypical standards, even
Mm.
though I'm very much not. Um, and I think a big part of it is like I don't want to be disabled. Like I live with a lot of disabled people, and I've seen a lot of them struggle for a really
Mm.
long time, and it's scary. It's scary to know how that's you, especially when you're raised to like not think that about yourself. Like you're supposed to be healthy, and especially in your 20s, like you're
Mhm.
supposed to be at the prime of your life. Like
Yeah,
everything's supposed to be wonderful.
yeah, yeah,
But
it's true.
I think it becomes a problem when neurodivergent people are saying that it's not a disability. Like you can say it doesn't disable you if you want.
Yeah.
If
No, I
it's
would
true.
never take it away from other people, like definitely not.
No,
It's just
no.
like
I
inside
don't.
of me. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. But I do think that you might feel a bit freer when you see that it is a disability. It doesn't mean that you can't walk or you can't do your
Mm.
everyday tasks. It means that in some ways you are disabled by
Mm.
your disability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's true.
when you're procrastinating or you're stuck in executive dysfunction, like that's literally a disability. You're disabled from being able to move on to the next task.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I think I think the problem is that a lot of neurodivergent traits have been associated with just being a bad person, like
Mm.
being lazy or being unproductive or being incapable. And it's like, and they present it like it's a personal choice when actually it's a disability. I guess that's why. I feel like I've read other stuff. I did. I read Joy by Samantha Lee,
Mm.
published by Northodox Press. It's a um it's a contemporary, I would call it contemporary literature. It was interesting because the publisher called it a romance, which it is. It's got romance in it, but I wouldn't call it a genre romance.
Mm.
Because it's very conversations with frenzy in that like people are with the wrong people and people are finding out how to be an adult in the world, and like it's very just reflective of the way relationship dynamics happen. And yeah, it was great. I really loved it. It was very Sally Rooney-ish,
Mm.
but set in Liverpool, which makes it even better. And
Beautiful.
sapphic, very
Oh,
sapphic. Yeah.
as it should be.
And it's got a second chance romance there. Yeah. How about you? What have you been doing?
I've been playing a lot of Sims.
You have been doing that.
I started you know how it goes. Like I got one mod and then it just really went. I just went with it. I have
Hmm.
so many mods and I feel like I'm playing completely different game because I
Yeah.
feel like I am.
Well,
I
you
mean,
are.
yeah, I am. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, I'm there like setting up a nice little bookstore and you're having threesomes.
Yeah. It was just
Prostituting.
it's true. It's true. One of my Sims just overdosed
Crazy,
after
man.
having a daughter while a teenager. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. But now the daughter is doing ballet.
She's
And
fighting against the universe she was born into, I guess.
yes, because she has a trauma right now, but she is putting it all into her art of belaying.
Hmm.
And her uncle, who's the same age as her right now, is doing archery. Yeah. It's so, I mean, teenage pregnancy, what can I say?
But the thing is, at some point she's gonna get into the elite ballets, and people are gonna be offering her performance enhancing drugs.
That might actually happen because let me tell you, the drug addiction. Like I have it. I have like base mental drugs mod. And I used it when I got it, and then I was like moving off from it. It was just too much of a hassle. But then girlie came from school. Hi, because she had weed with her friends. I was like, there's a good storyline. Because she was despising her kid. She was very bitter towards her. And I was like, you know what? She's really annoying me at this point. And she was also like constantly I feel like I'm being controlled by someone else. And she was constantly angry. And every time I told her to do something, like clean her fucking plate, she got upset. And then I couldn't do fuck all with her. So I was like, let's all just relax with some pills and a little bit of powder. And
I think that my sim creator is doing that because I'm too lazy to go wash my plate. They're giving me like anxiety and depression in
yeah,
return.
yeah.
They hate me too.
Yeah, but I got rid of them. That's the difference between us. And I got rid of
Well,
them
I'm waiting on
very
it.
brutally. Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of Sims. And I haven't been reading at all because I've been playing a lot of Sims and it's killing my brain cells. But I've been watching a lot of things like Agatha All Along.
Hmm.
It's the season of the fucking witch. It's so good. It's one of the best things Marvel has ever done. It has banger after banger after banger. It has suffix, plural. Everybody is gay. It's just so good and witchy. And it's like the old school witchcraft. So it's not just like fire and water, but it's like spells, runes, witch books, divination, potions, and stuff like that. Potions from like disgusting things. It's
Mm.
great. It's great.
Like Eye of Newt.
Yes. Not like it was there.
I'll
And she
see.
was making a
I
potion.
know my witchcraft.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. So
Mm.
it's coming out weekly now. So I'm excited for more. I'm glad that it's coming out one episode per week, but it's also extremely hellish week. But then I get to rewatch it several times, which is great.
Yeah.
A little joys in life. And I started watching Box Machina, which is an animated show based on Critical Role. And I'm back in, I feel like I'm gonna be back in the D&D era where I really want to play D&D.
Mhm.
And I'm just listening to the podcasts, and I'm gonna have to start. Um, I think I'll watch it on YouTube. Critical Role. The girl's gotta do what she's gotta do.
I agree.
Yeah, it's so good. I have so many ships there. Well, three, but I get to ship. It's great. It's great. Yeah, and it's very fun. And yeah, it's gonna be for sure like the found family. Right now, they don't really like each other that much. They do, but not really. They keep fighting a lot, but it's fun. I love it. I think you would enjoy it.
I probably would.
Yeah.
I started the Owl House, so I do know that I can enjoy animation now
Mm.
because I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah.
Not to a point where I'm like eager to watch the next episode, but just it's really nice when I want
Yeah.
to turn my brain off.
Yeah. And it's also like so different. I keep saying like, and it's pissing me off. It's also very different form as opposed to like normal shows.
Hmm.
But I feel it gives you the same feels, but something extra, like a little bit of Just something. Something,
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
beautiful. I also finished my first playthrough of The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah.
I love Joel Mills. I mean, I was having a journey. He was there when I was trying to do the Left Behind
Yeah.
bonus scenes.
While I was having threesomes with Father
Yeah.
Christmas, Winter.
We're never on the same vibe when we're gaming. It's so funny. Oh my God. And then I
Uh,
went from that to fucking Lies of P, which is a Pinocchio inspired steampunk-esque game by PlayStation, I think. And I was in it for the very gender ambiguous main character because
mm,
he looks like a twink,
mm.
but also like a soft butch. I can't really decide which one it is. And he wears a flowy white shirt, you know.
Mm,
It was really fucking hard. I really had a hard time
mm,
because it's a lot about the mechanics of the character themselves because they've got a metal arm like Bucky Barnes, a
mm.
sword, all sorts of shit that I don't understand yet. It's a lot of buttons to press.
Yeah.
More than I'm used to. I'm
Mm.
used to point and shoot games.
Yeah.
So, but the vibes are great. I just can't fucking do it without dying.
Yeah.
And also, I've not lied once. It keeps coming up. Lie or death. The only option is death. It keeps killing me, and then I get revived. Where
And then
is
you have to lie to me for the rest of the evening.
that? Yeah. So yeah, I was struggling with that. And I've also been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it's very
Mm.
different from the Assassin's Creeds I'm used to on my Nintendo. But the woman is really hot. I think I already talked about her, so I won't go on about it. But
Mm.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh! And I started Tell Me Why. I'm really enjoying
Mm.
that one.
Wonderful.
It's I would check the content warnings if you're trans or queer because the main character is trans and he's beautiful. I'm so in love with him. Um and most people are allies, but the backstory is very dark.
Mm.
So they're trying to figure out why their mum tried to kill him or them. I don't know if she was trying to kill both of them or not. And that's, and then could because he always thought it was because he was trans, so it can be very like I can't imagine it probably is very triggering, but um, but it's also handled very so as from what I've seen so far, it's handled really delicately, and
Mm.
I guess it is a reality, unfortunately, for some people. So there is that.
Beautiful.
But when I first went on it, there was trans and queer flags in his room, and I was like, "Oh."
Mm.
It's very narrative based, so it's not a huge amount of gameplay, but I'm
Mm.
really enjoying it.
I do love those.
Yeah.
Well, then, the only answer of what you have to do next is Stray God.
Oh, that's true. I did say when I got a gaming laptop, I would
Yeah.
download it, so I guess we'll see if it's on
Yeah.
sale anytime soon.
I think it was on the Amazon games actually
Oh, okay.
through Twitch.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There you
Oh
go.
yeah. Speaking of Twitch, we might be streaming soon, so keep
Yeah,
that.
it's true. It's true. We might be streaming Fortnite and crosswords.
Yeah.
Very wild life we live in.
And Sims.
Oh yeah, and Sims.
If we can figure out how the fuck it works.
Yeah. We struggle doing it together.
Hmm.
Like we can do it separately, but the togetherness is where we struggle.
Yeah.
But I guess it won't matter for Fortnite because I wouldn't have to look at you. I would need like I wouldn't have to need to look at you.
No, you don't need to see my screen,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
That's true.
So we'll see. So should we get into the interview?
We should get into the interview. Let's talk to Wendy Martin about Castle Swimmer.
Enjoy.
Well, thank you for joining us. First of all, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Wendy Martin. I grew up in the Midwest in Iowa, and I just recently moved to Seattle. So I've been in Seattle for a year, and I'm getting used to it over here. But I grew up surrounded by animals. We had a lot of livestock, but we lived behind McDonald's within city limits, so it was kind of illegal. But we did have a lot of animals. So I've always loved animals and I've always loved arts. So I loved drawing animals and I got very into comics at a young age. So I like drawing comics involving fantasy and animals.
Wonderful, thank you. We got a copy of Castle Swimmer, and I feel it's fair to say for both of us, we loved it. It was so cute. We just
Cool.
enjoyed it very much. And we would love to hear a little bit more about it and what inspired you to create it.
Castle Swimmer was inspired by the first Kingdom Hearts game, the Little Mermaid section. Um, I did like mermaids with swords was very interesting to me, and that made me want to make sort of an underwater adventure. I really wanted to make a mermaid story where they actually stay in the water and don't go above and hang out with humans because I'm like humans are so boring. I'm tired of being in the human worlds. So that kind of was my main goal with exploring the story. And of course, I always have queer characters. I love romance, so that was a big aspect of it. And yeah,
So, other than the lack of human real life, what drew you to the underwater fantasy setting?
I really, especially with my art, I like drawing very organic things. I did not want to draw like cities and buildings and things. Um, and also when I was young, growing up, my family had access to a lake house, and we would spend time at the lake, and I would go underwater and pretend I was a mermaid,
I do that
which is
still.
fun.
Yeah, I do that in the bath.
It's very fun. It's very fun.
Yeah.
So I feel like for a long time, I think that was a deep-rooted thing. I'm like, I want to be underwater and explore the ocean. So,
Amazing.
Uh, you sort of mentioned a few, but is there any other re like a reason why you gravitate towards half human, half animal characters?
I don't know. I do love animals, but there's a lot of artists that love animals and they don't necessarily do the half human thing. They
Mm.
just draw animals. So I'm not sure. I'm very into fantasy, so I feel like a lot of fantasy stories just include um, characters that are half human. But also I feel like adding animalistic traits to a human character gives them so much personality and
Mm.
makes for so many like fun, interesting moments. So yeah, I just love exploring that in fiction.
Is there any other fantasy that could like inspire either this book or like your love toward like to it?
Any fantasy I've read?
Yeah.
Oh man, I there's so many. I used to read these huge fantasy books when I was a kid, and then like one day I just stopped reading, and I only read
Mm.
like comics and fan fiction.
Mm.
So I'm still reading, but just slightly different genre. Um, I was really into the Maximum Ride books. Do you know about
Mm.
those? It
I
was
know
about
about them, but I never read them. Yeah.
a young adult series about winged people.
Mm.
So I was very into that. I was into Twilight briefly. I went through a Twilight phase, which was pretty fun.
Only briefly. I'm offended. I'm still in it.
Well, I say briefly, but I did watch all the movies and read all the books.
Mm.
So I'll leave it at that. And they were very enjoyable. Um, so yeah, and then I think later on, after I for some reason stopped reading books, I was very inspired by stories from video games.
Mm.
And that was like my main inspiration for a while. Even though I didn't really play a lot of video games, I really loved like artistic games like Shadow of the Colossus. Hugely inspired by that. Abzu and Journey, a lot of those like artsy, art simulation almost games. Hugely inspired. So yeah.
Amazing. And we have a listener question from Anna, who's in our Discord. They want to know what kind of research, if any, you did for the underwater setting and vibes, especially when designing the characters.
Um, well, part of the reason I like doing fantasy is because I have to do less research because I'm just making a lot of stuff up. But I did do a lot of every like character is designed after a specific kind of fish, so I'd always reference the design of a real life fish and kind of simplify it and turn it into one of the mermaid characters. So that was the main thing. For a lot of the backgrounds, just like plants and things, I was always looking at references of sea life plants. Um, and I think that's mainly most of the research I did. I honestly didn't do a ton. I like using real world things as an inspiration, but I try to stop using it if it like hinders my creativity. So I try to like reference only to like a certain level. But I don't want to ever be at a point where, well, the characters can't do this because that wouldn't make sense, in this kind of world. But it's like it's a fantasy mermaid story. I should be able to do whatever I want.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a good rule to have. I was saying to Ivy, I loved like the little details just in the background and the fish surrounding the beacon and just all those little background details. They're all really lovely.
Thank you.
The second book is due to be published next June. What can we expect?
I didn't know it was due to be published next June, but I do know now. Well,
I'm a little surprised. Your second book is about to be published.
I always get surprised by my publishing dates. But yes, book two is very fun. It continues on from the first one. It's kind of like the rising action. I feel like the first book was kind of like the preparation and of like things about to happen, and then the second book is like a little actiony moment. A lot of stuff like comes together. Some things are revealed, so it's very fun in that sense.
I'm interested to know how you fell into kind of, first of all, art, and then how that became comics, because there's so many different ways of arts, and it's not always the most common one.
Yeah, well, I've always been interested in comics. I like those, well, starting with the little newspaper, like just strips of comics in the newspaper. I loved reading those. And then you could buy those like big books of like the tiny strips, like the Calvin and Hobbes collection style. So that kind of started the comic interest for me. And I was very into fine arts for I feel like most of my childhood, and I was going to be a fine art artist. Um, I think when I got to, was it high school? I was kind of into manga. I got more of the online DeviantArt scene, and that's when I started seeing more indie comics by indie creators, and eventually I would like get very, very into the indie comic scene. So it was like a kind of a slow progression, but it was always there. The interest for comics was always there. I used to go to Barnes and Noble because that was the only good bookstore around my area, and I'd read all of the comics they had available.
Lovely.
What's
Um,
more
Sorry.
sorry. What's more
You go.
difficult during the process, like the drawing or the text, like writing it, the speech?
Good question. I feel like sometimes it varies in difficulty. Like there's some scenes where, especially on like the Webtoon schedule, because you gotta have stuff figured out pretty quickly. And I usually only have one day to do the like drafting it out. Although I usually know what I want to happen. But sometimes I'll come across like a scene that is just like, I don't like it and I want to change it and it's due tomorrow. And I have to figure out what I want to do with that. So that's usually when it comes to writing, that is the biggest challenge. But other than that, I think it's usually the writing is more of a breeze because I always have I know what I want to happen, and it's kind of just getting the artwork done promptly is the greater challenge usually.
So, like, what's your process when you're starting, like, either a new story or like you're starting your work day? How does that work for you?
My process for starting the workday. Well, with working for a Webtoon, I kind of the goal is to get one episode done a week
Mhm.
because that is when it is due, and it usually takes me longer than a week. So it is
Mhm.
always a challenge. But I would spend Sunday, although I'm trying not to work weekends anymore, but we'll see how that goes. But usually my normal schedule is I would draft everything, kind of sketch it out on the whole episodes on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, I work on the sketch, and Thursday and Friday, the line art. Um, and then one of those days, at some point, I also need to get the colors done. And hopefully, that's not on the weekend. And these like vary, but that's technically my schedule. But I never follow my schedule. It's always like I actually spent 3 days writing, and now I have to get all this other stuff done within this 2 day time frame. But I just do what I can.
Okay, wonderful.
And how do you come up with the idea? Does the story come first, or do you have like an image in your head that you want to expand on? Where does the inspiration and the story come from?
Um, well, I've kind of known what I wanted to do with the story for a very long time, but sometimes I'll just like randomly come up with a new idea. I'm like, oh, this is way better. And then I'll implement that and see if that works. I feel like I used to be very much like, okay, we stick with the original plan and we do not deviate at all, which to an extent, I like to be like that. But I don't know, I feel like every new idea, you're always like a better artist than you were when you thought of your last idea. So your new idea, and you should always be open to like new ideas and exploring new things, even when you're working on something within reason. Um, so yeah, I try to be strict with the story, but I also like want to allow myself to change things if needed, be more flexible.
Great.
Yeah, I'm an author and I have the same thing. Like my characters kind of decide for me. So it's interesting that that's still very similar.
Has anything surprised you about the differences between publishing for Webtoon versus the traditional publishing?
Yes, it's so different. It's so different. It's kind of an adjustment. I feel like with Webtoon, when you're working for Webtoon, you really just like you're going fast, and the idea is to just get it done as quick as you can because it was due like yesterday, and it's like you're so behind. So a lot of speed, a lot of kind of like last minute things will happen, very quick pace. With traditional publishing, I was shocked at how slow everything was, but it's not necessarily, it still feels fast. But I feel like there's so much like proofreading and like polishing of everything within the book that it feels like we're going slower because we're doing more, we're making sure everything is like more polished. But that takes so long that it almost feels like it's going fast, weirdly. So that they're both extremely different. I kind of like both for different reasons, but I've only just published my first book, so we'll see how I feel in the future.
Wonderful.
Your illustration style has changed over the years. How did you develop your skills and were you inspired by any other artists or graphic novels?
Yes. I was very. I feel like one of my goals with the comic is just to improve as an artist and a storyteller, and I didn't necessarily want to be like, okay, I can only draw on this one style for the sake of consistency. Because I didn't want to like hold myself back from growing as an artist. So there are some artwork changes, especially with the characters later in the seasons. Um, and yeah, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Just how did you improve and develop your skills over the
Oh,
years?
that's right. Yeah, so there were a lot of artists that inspired me, mostly from other indie comic creators. I like following other indie comic creators, and I would always see someone with a cool style. I'm like, ooh, I could try to incorporate this. this part of their style into this, and I'm sure my readers won't even notice, and it'll be totally fine. Um, there was a period of time where I was inspired by the artist who created the comic called, it's a manga called To Your Eternity. I don't know if you've heard of it. I think it's the same creator of A Silent Voice. But they had like a very kind of soft, cute style that was very detailed that they drew their characters. And if you read a later season, I think later into season 2, you can actually see when I started reading that comic because my artwork takes such a change. I call it like the soft chin era because they go from having pointy chins to soft chins as soon as I started reading that comic. So yeah, it has changed quite a bit.
Do you have the like, or even can you like go back and redo the art, or do you want to just leave it as it is?
I don't want to change too much. I like that with working on the books, I kind of get a chance to go back and make adjustments
Mhm.
so it can kind of be the perfect version of the story within reason. I never want to like redraw the entire book. I definitely want to avoid that.
Mhm.
But there were a lot of like panels and like kind of small moments in the art that I just like to like polish up and change a
Mm.
little bit.
Good.
We don't get to talk to many graphic novelists actually. So I'm
Mm.
kind of interested in what the process looked like between having the comic there for Webtoon and then getting it into traditional publishing. Like, did you have to do changes yourself, or did someone just see it and was like, we need to put this on paper? Like, how does it work? I'm so interested.
Um, well, for the longest time, I resolved the fact that okay, this is just never going to be a physical book because I feel like the reformatting process takes so much
Mm.
time. I'm like, there's no way I can. I just don't have time for that. I can't. There's no way I can do it. But my publisher actually found another comic artist called Jem Milton. They're amazing to do like most of the heavy reformatting from the webtoon into book form for me, and then I would be involved and kind of like improve certain things. So that I never thought that would be possible, but that has been amazing, and that's like the only reason I've been able to have them become books.
Mhm.
Amazing.
I never really even thought of that necessary. Wow.
Oh, it's just so different because I'm very
Yeah.
used to the publishing industry at this point, but it just seems completely different when it's a graphic novel. I'm very interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now a little fun question. If you were a half animal, which one would you be?
Oh, that's such a good question. Um, I feel like because when I'm writing characters, I kind of like to make them suffer a little bit, but I don't want to suffer.
No, we didn't notice.
But I don't want to suffer, so I feel like I want to be an animal that is still going to be relatively easy to live my life. Like I don't know, maybe I'd have like a bottom half of like a cat or something, or something that can make me do fast, something that can make me more productive in the day would be good.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be part monkey so that my feet could do things and I could like multitask.
That's a good one.
I'm interested to know what the greatest challenges are of being a graphic novelist.
Hmm. I feel like hmm, at the moment I can mostly speak on the challenges of being like a webtoon artist.
Hmm.
I feel like I think things are so different from people who just like go straight to traditional, and it's always just for webtoon getting stuff done on time.
Hmm.
But there's also a lot of challenges. I feel like with Webtoon, you're putting your work out there like immediately. And you know, sometimes there's mistakes, but you get like an immediate reaction from
Hmm.
people from like specific parts of the story. Whereas I'm curious going into a graphic novel because that's like a much bigger chunk of the story that you're putting out there and you're kind of receiving feedback in a much different way. So it's very interesting, and I'm curious how the difference will be with that. But I think one of the aside from the getting stuff done in time and working on the art and everything, I feel like the biggest challenge has been kind of dealing with feedback or like a lot of feedback from people. Like I have certain rules I follow now where it's like, okay, I don't look at reviews on Goodreads. I don't, there's certain places that I don't need to go to Reddit ever in my life. I don't need to go to Reddit. And there's certain I've kind of learned that you have to kind of protect yourself as a creator. When I was younger, I thought like, you should be open to all kind of feedback so you can like, improve. But it's like, how much feedback do you really need from a random stranger? You have no idea if they're giving you good feedback.
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, the biggest challenge is just learning how to protect yourself from feedback of your work and kind of navigate things in a way that still keeps you mentally healthy as a creator so you can keep working your best.
Yeah. While we were doing research for this episode, I was on your tapas, I think, and there was a comment, I'm not gay, but Siren is hot. So I feel that's a brilliant feedback.
I do get some great feedback like that.
I'm not gonna lie, Siren's mom was doing it for me a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for new comic creators?
I feel like the most common advice I usually give is to just be like super self-indulgent. Um, if you want to make your big epic right away, go for it. Who cares? If that's the one that's really inspiring you, hey, you can do it right now. You don't have to wait till you're the perfect artist, and you can always reboot it if you want. If you decide you're not proud of it later, you can just reboot it. That's what I did with Castle Swimmer, and it worked out for me. So yeah, it takes so much effort to create a comic. So just make sure it's like you're doing everything you want to do, that you want to do, and not necessarily what's most popular or what's least popular, that kind of thing.
Cool. And before we go, we always like to ask what people are enjoying at the moment. So do you have any TV show, movie, book, comic book, podcast, anything that you would like to give a little shout out about?
Hmm. Honestly, I've been really into Pokemon Go and Pokemon Sleep. I've been in a Pokemon phase. So that's
Okay.
what I've been doing instead of reading comics. But other than Pokemon, the last fandom I was super into was the Trigun fandom, which that has had a resurgence lately. So yeah, the new Trigun anime by Orange, super great. I would recommend it.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and chatting with us. It was great. And we're very much excited for the next book and all that you will put out. We're very excited. That was that.
That was that. It was fun to talk to graphic novelists.
It's true. It's
We
true.
have a few different, well, we have at least one different guest
We do.
coming up. Don't get too excited.
I'm so excited.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's great. So excited.
Yeah, but it's great to talk to people who, not just people who do the same things that we do or that I do.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
If you was a
Hmm?
if you was a half animal, what would you want to be half of an animal with?
I mean, I have to be half shark. I
Yeah.
gotta be.
Yeah.
I would say half dinosaur, but that didn't work out well for them. And also, I don't want to be on Earth. I either want to fly or be on the water. So I guess also like half a turtle wouldn't have to be that bad because you get the best of both worlds.
That's true.
You can hang out on the beach and then go swim around.
It's very true.
Just not bad. Or a seal.
Mm.
Yeah. Or something that flies around. But I do like owls, but I don't think they have very. It's just there's something missing for me. So maybe an eagle?
Oh my gosh, so many answers.
I know. Come on, you didn't expect it to be easy. Or something that blends in, so I don't have to fight other animals for survival.
Mm,
But I don't know.
that's the problem, isn't it?
It is. But I'm still half human, so I feel
That's
I'm
true.
ruining the planet, so I'm good.
Yeah.
How about you?
Um, I would love to say penguin because it's my favorite animal, but I don't want to be cold and slimy and eat fish.
Mm.
So I
But they
think,
poop in a fun way.
do they?
Yeah. I mean, the one penguin that I saw poop in the zoo,
Why? How do
it
they
was just
poop?
like boop, was
Oh, I do
shooting from
that.
its butt.
Yeah, I do that too. Um,
I guess it depends what half of the animal would you be.
yeah.
But I mean, if you were a human with like only instead, like if you have wings or stuff, we'll take your arms because then it's not really fun to walk around with wings instead of arms. Like, what would you do?
It's very true.
Anyway, I'm getting too much
Very
into it. Go on.
complicated question.
Yeah.
Um, I really like robins.
Hmm. They do fly a lot around.
Yeah, a red-breasted robin.
Mm.
But they're so small.
I would protect you as an eagle.
Oh, yes. Yeah, or maybe a hedgehog because then you get to be
Oh, that's
spiky.
true. It's true.
But then you get run over a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, but people also like stop for you and take you to the road. So I guess it
That's true.
depends which specific hedgehog would you be. And if there was still part of you human, maybe they will run over you just because it's weird.
I think Wendy answered this question much better than we did.
Yeah.
Let's move on. What
Ah.
was you gonna say?
It's been ages ago. I have no
Oh,
idea. I
right,
didn't
okay.
even know I wanted to say something.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Anything else from you?
Yeah, we are hosting Camp Sword for just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Um, it's a writing event that's substituting NaNoWriMo because we don't like them anymore.
No.
And our little community grows a bit every time we host an event. So if you want to come join us and get motivated to write, we're here and we'll be back in January.
Yes. And that reminds me that on our Ko-fi, we started collection, is it called? For so we could afford an actual streaming no, recording software. So we can have more options on how to promote and how to do stuff and etc. So just to yeah, have more options really. So if you have every little bit helps us.
It
So we
does.
would be very grateful.
Yeah. And as always, if you want to appear on our blog in an interview or guest piece, then you can just donate a little tip to us and fill out our forms.
Yes.
You didn't say you watched Rocket Man last night. You don't care
Yeah.
about me at all.
You watched it too. You didn't say you watched Rocket Man. You don't care about spending time
Because
with me.
I've watched it before.
Yeah, we watched Rocket Man. It's true. The
Yeah, but we
rumors are
did the
true.
catch up. We already did the catch up section. It's
But did
not.
you thought of it now, or were you just waiting if I were
No,
saying?
I just remembered now.
See? Yeah, but we watch Rocket Man. It's true.
Yeah, but the time to talk about it has been and gone.
I can never win this.
No.
Hmm. Well, anything else you'd like to shame me with?
No, not for now.
Hmm.
Maybe later.
I guess until next time.
Support women's rights,
But most importantly, support women's wrongs.
especially if they're a hot shark lady who wants to
Mm.
kill the beacon.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Not to brag, I would do it for her.
Shh.
Oh, that was for me or the dog?
The dog.
Okay. Couldn't tell, couldn't be sure.
I think you could, but okay.
Well, we shall see you later, alligator.
In a while, crocodile.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Swords and Sapphics. You can enjoy a new episode every Wednesday.
While waiting, you can visit our website, swordsandsuffix.com, and find lots of articles, interviews, and guest pieces.
Feel free to contact us with any requests, questions, or inquiries through a form on our website or directly to our email, swordsandsuffixpodcast@gmail.com.